Hi, Mitchell from CSOP Asset Management here again. As a key part of our thematic series rollout, we are pleased to let you know that we have just released our healthcare-themed ETF to add onto the shelf. This ETF is also listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange under the ticker 3174, as we continue to strive towards providing investors with a full range of niche growth investments to complete the thematic collection. And we're pleased to share some information here with you today. Chinese healthcare has been a major theme which has generated a ton of demand and interest from investors, and particularly in the current pandemic environment, which has highlighted the significance to the development of these companies. We are pleased to let you know that 3174 is packed with all the top Chinese companies that are listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange within this sector. In 2020 alone, Chinese healthcare was one of the most popular private equity and venture capital investments in China, and sitting just right behind information technology at 14% of total number of private equity and venture capital transactions. In particular, pharmaceuticals was the most invested subsector given the pandemic environment, with trade value of around $13.7 billion US. And with healthcare being such a high growing theme, we can expect other sectors to pick up in the near future. So why invest into Chinese healthcare sector? Well, we believe that there are three key supporting pillars, namely the inelasticity of demand, the policy support, and the rapid growth in the sector. These three factors provide strong support from the Chinese healthcare sector to grow and flourish in the near future. The Chinese healthcare industry is structurally supported by an extremely inelastic demand, meaning that there will be an almost unchanging need for these services in China, and it is also growing. As China has an aging population where approximately a fifth were over 60 years of age in 2020. Another supporting factor to the inelasticity of demand is simply due to an increasingly wealthier population. The average annual disposable income per Chinese resident has increased by 8.4% per year in the last 7 years, with average healthcare expenditure as a proportion of consumption increasing steadily by the year, with a cumulative annual growth rate of around 12.3% or so from 2015 to 2019. The second structural reason comes in the form of a strong support from the central government directed at the healthcare sector. In the latest 14th five-year plan, genomics and biotechnology are among the 7 frontier fields highlighted for future exploration, with biotech being among the 9 strategic emerging industries and pharmaceuticals as a targeted high-tech field for the Made in China 2025 label. Furthermore, with a growing policy support by the year, Chinese traditional pharmaceutical companies have been able to accelerate their innovation and transformation. And we've seen a rise in biotech companies as a result of this. The average approval time for new drugs has also drastically shortened from 3 to 5 years to around 12 months. And in the case of innovative drugs, the approval process has also shortened from the previous 2 to 3 years to currently being less than 2 years, and with the shortest only requiring around 29 days or so for approval. The high growth in the Chinese healthcare and biotech industry listed in Hong Kong can also be attributed to the Chapter 18A listing rule, which is a fast track by the Hong Kong Exchange introduced in 2018, enabling biotech companies that meet certain conditions to list in the pre-profit stage. And since the introduction of this, we've seen Hong Kong become Asia's largest biotech fundraising center and the second largest globally, from attracting China's biotech leaders to list. Which is also expected to propel into the first place in the next 5 to 10 years, as this facilitates the growth by providing important capital support for innovative R&D and overseas development. Therefore, due to these structural supports, Hong Kong's healthcare stocks have experienced rapid growth, enabling the HSI healthcare sector to grow by more than 140% in the last year and a half or so, compared to the 11% growth from the S&P 500 healthcare sector. Moreover, the maximum drawdown for the HSI healthcare sector saw around 26% in comparison to the 29% recorded for the S&P 500 healthcare as well. And so 3174 tracks the Solactive China Healthcare Disruption Index, which is the 35 largest securities by market capitalization listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, who have business operations in various innovative fields in the healthcare sector in China. These innovative and disruptive fields cover the whole spectrum of healthcare companies, which include the upstream, midstream, downstream companies that are in the pharmaceuticals, medical devices, hospitals, and pharmacies as well. The word disruption is used because we believe that the various segments of healthcare covered in the index will forever change the industry for the better. Starting with the innovative drugs, which is believed to be the backbone of the driving force to the industry, as the sheer growth and quantity of innovative drugs developed by Chinese pharmaceuticals have also disrupted the industry. In 2018, China's innovative drugs accounted for only about 9% of the prescription drug market, with this market share expected to increase to 70% by 2030 due to the overseas expansions expected to take place. This kind of growth is also strongly supported by the latest 14th Five-Year Plan, with healthcare and biotech being one of the main focuses. A series of medical system reforms will also promote innovation and transformation to further support this growth. Another reason for the growth of this theme is also to do with the so-called CXO companies, which belong to the upstream of innovative drug developers and provide outsourcing services for the development and production of new drugs. This is split into two types, namely CRO and CDMO, which stand for Contract Research Organization and Contract Development and Manufacturing Organization. These CXO companies have maintained high growth and profit margins, which are expected to be intact given the various supporting factors that were mentioned previously. They also benefit from the domestic industrial upgrades and large drug market in China as well. Furthermore, overseas pharmaceutical companies have increasingly been shifting their industrial chains to China, which places Chinese CXO companies to benefit from the trillion-dollar innovative drug market globally. And it is estimated that market demand from CRO and CDMO companies are to rise by 5 to 6 times by 2030, and with the consistent growth in the pipeline for innovative drugs. Another area of disruption is seen in the innovation of medical devices. Particularly with the maturity of industrial chain, the medical devices market will benefit from the huge demand of popularization and replacement, and with broad development prospects as well. Just in the last 5 years or so, we've seen the growth in China's medical device market far exceed global peers, at around 19% versus 5% globally. Furthermore, very few things have disrupted industries as much as the internet. And with this comes another growth engine in the form of internet healthcare. The sheer number of internet users in China lends a unique advantage to the demand for internet healthcare. China's online pharmacy and consultation services will be developing even more rapidly with online access to medical insurance payment systems and the removal of restrictions to online prescription drug sales. In particular, year-on-year growth for online pharmaceutical sales has been high, with 36% growth rate recorded in 2019. And with these latest developments, we can only expect this area to expand even quicker. 14 provinces are allowing online access to medical insurance payment systems, which include Beijing and Shanghai, which will enable for higher efficiency and allocation of resources. Therefore, 3174 is packed full of these Chinese healthcare leaders that are sitting at the forefront of this growth story, covering all stages of production and distribution. Prior to 3174, investors would need to pay approximately 170,000 Hong Kong dollars to buy into the top 5 constituents. But now, investors can diversify and buy into the top 35 healthcare companies that are listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for less than 1,000 Hong Kong dollars or so. 3174 also enables investors to stay up to date with the biggest healthcare players listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange through the IPO Fast Entry system, where healthcare IPOs will be reviewed on a weekly basis for the fast-track inclusion eligibility. Therefore, we hope that our 3174 ETF can help investors position themselves well in the fast-growing and innovative Chinese healthcare sector. We are constantly adapting to market demand in our rollout in thematic investments. So please stay tuned to this channel for more updates and information. Thank you and hope to see you again next time.